Hi everybody. This is a picture of me. I was 17. That's how old I was when I walked away from my parents, the organization, and everybody I knew. 1983, I walked away. I was really convicted in what I thought. I didn't believe what they were saying. I saw too many holes in it. Saw too much hypocrisy, favoritism, you name it. And, I've heard a lot of people say, that goes on in any church or whatever, but it doesn't go on in every church the same way that it happens in the organization, because the organization tells you that they are God's only true organization on earth. And for claiming to be so perfect and in God's control, I saw nothing in it that appeared like it was being controlled by God, and at 17 I left. At 16 I knew I was going to leave. At 17 I left. I've learned a whole lot since then, and I was listening to somebody's video the other day, a day or two ago, and they were talking about the funniest things that you're counseled for on the Great Apostates channel, and got me thinking again. It's like a memory flashed in my head. A lot of people, they ask, well, how long does it take to unprogram from the organization? And I've been out 35 years next month, so it's kind of hard for me to remember, pinpoint where my mind was at a certain time. But the memory that I remembered was I was 20 years old. I was out 3 years at that point, away from it completely whatsoever. No meetings, no contact with any of them or anything like that for 3 years. And I was the generation that was growing up before 1975, when they were saying that the world was going to end and blah blah. You couldn't finish school. There was no point because 75 was it, boom. Well, there it was, 1986, 11 years after that I signed up to go back to school. And 3 years out, like I say, already away from the organization that long. I see there wasn't internet. I haven't even met an XJW anywhere. To this day, face to face, I haven't met another XJW, just on the internet. But back to what I was saying was that 3 years out, when I went back to school, I was still letting the organization rules dictate what I went to school for. I went back to school for something that I didn't really want to do, but that I was thinking that was one of the approved things that a woman could go back to school for, and so that's what I did. And it was like 14 months later, I'm like, I didn't even want to go back to school. I didn't want to I was looking for excuses not to go, and I was thinking in my head, I got to do something that I look forward to doing. I got to be happy with the job that I'm going to do for the next 30 years or so. I got to be happy to get up and go to work and all that. And that's what was opening up my mind at that time period of getting out, 3 to 11 years out. fighting what in my mind what they were saying and what was right for me, you know. Um, the first year I was out, I had a I wanted to have a birthday for my daughter. I had never had a birthday. I didn't know how to have one, what to do, what I was supposed to. I knew it involved a cake. So I made my daughter this little cake for her first birthday. It was like a 4-serving little cake, just a little cake, and I let her have the whole thing. I still have pictures of her just destroying it and getting cake everywhere, at a year old. And I wasn't struck by lightning. Nothing bad happened because I did that. And then there was Christmas after that, and I didn't appear to be punished by God because I had Christmas, and it kept going, and I think when I added it up, when I sat and figured it out, 15 years after I was out, like I say, this was with no internet or anything, no communication with XJWs or anything, no way to really research things fast. But 15 years out, I felt like I was free. That I was over it, I was past it, I was done with it. It took me 15 years. Now today, people with, the XJW community and the internet to do research on and all those things, I think that it probably go by a lot quicker. Some people might be fully awake and when they get out, but it's a process of going indoctrinating your mind and your heart from all the stuff that you've been programmed with. That's the battle, how it affects your day-to-day life and things, and your dreams and everything, But I just wanted to share that with you. I was real young in that picture, 35 years, Wow. I'm 50 now, and I got out at 17. That's a long time. I was disfellowshipped at 16, so I kind of count that, and how many years I've been out. But I knew I didn't want to go back. There wasn't anybody that was going to make me raise my child the way I was raised and go through all that emotional and psychological and depression, all that damage that it does to a child having to do things like that. And I've heard a lot of people say, and it was true for me too, that even in the congregation, there was nobody really to hang out with or do anything with. In my congregation, the other girls were either a lot older than me or a lot younger than me. And the ones that were younger than me were doing things that I didn't want to do anymore. And the older ones were doing things they didn't want to include me in. So I was just kind of isolated and alone, even in my own congregation. So I grew up with that alone, outsider kind of feeling. Even in the organization, I never felt like I belonged there. Nobody embraced that or helped me or encouraged me or anything like that. And then when you're a teenager and you do something wrong, you're even less encouraged. You're shut out, you're pushed out, you're told to leave. No one wants to talk to you, and that's when a minor child is facing problems in their life, that's when they need their parents the most. Yet the congregation will cut them off from their parents, and the parents are even afraid to talk to their own children, and I understand why people feel suicidal and depressed and all that when they get out. I really do. I think about the first 4 months that I was out, I carried a knife in my pocket, even to go out and hang the laundry on the line, because I was afraid that some worldly person was going to stab me or kill me, because I'd been raised to be so fearful of worldly people, But I was pretty lucky in the aspect that the people that I met and got to know when I got out were very, very nice, wonderful people. And they were really good to me. And I felt better and more relaxed and more happy than I had ever felt. My my aunt, who was never a witness, my aunt told me one time, we were talking about it before my father died in 2010. She mentioned that, she says, well, when you were growing up, I never saw you smile or laugh. And I sat and explained to her why, and she cried. She says, if I knew that you weren't that happy, we would have done something, you know. But that was another sign of the times, too, that you really didn't get involved in other people's families' lives, you know. It was about in the 70s and early 80s that they started telling people, if you know of an abused child, you should report it, you know. But before that, people would know that a child was being abused or mistreated, and just, you know, people didn't get involved in that, didn't say much, you know. The things were really hush-hush back in those days. But these days, people need to stand up and say something, you know. Those Jehovah's Witnesses inside the organization that know those things are going on and choose not to say anything to other people about it and not stand up and speak up about the things that are going wrong, they have the attitude, well, we'll just wait on Jehovah and let Jehovah fix it. He'll straighten that out. You know, what a terrible attitude. What a terrible thing to let that filth just collect inside there, waiting for someone or something else to take care of it, and they choose just to ignore it and let it keep going on. Talk about blind. Talk about sad. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I told you more about my private days before, and I wanted to share with you. Boy, did I look young. You know, look at that. 17. That's what I looked like and how old I was when I walked away from it all. Wow. You know, I was a brave kid. Have a good day, you guys. Talk to you later.